Hola YouTube, this is Eliana again for another video. I'm glad to have shared my first experience with the extrasensory world with you guys on this platform. So today I actually want to continue on that note of opening up more on these experiences. And there's one in particular that I finally made me realize that some of my experiences are so vivid. They were a part of the dream realm and not actually a part of my physical reality. Because it opened up my eyes and realizing how the dream realm blends so much with physical reality. I was living in our second house in Reseda with my family. And this night, for some reason, I decided to sleep in the bed with my brother. I was so used to sleeping in the same room with them. So it happened not too long after I got my own room. So the bed was right next to the window. And we had the shades open that night just so to let the air come in because in the San Fernando Valley it just gets scorching hot even at night during the summer. I will remember waking up, and I say waking up because I thought I was awake. And then I saw this man. He was wearing glasses and he had a cell phone, but like not a modern looking one. He was wearing black pants and a gray shirt, like collar shirt, like up to here. I was so afraid to see him right next to the window. I thought to myself, I need to protect my siblings. So I was thinking he could abduct us somehow. But then I thought to myself at that moment, how is it possible that he is in the backyard? We had two dogs at that time. And dogs are protectors, and if anyone comes and invades their space, they bark. So I had no idea why our dogs weren't barking at this man. It made no sense to me. All of a sudden, I hear him talk on the phone, and he said, "Yeah, she's right here. I can see her. She is right here." I felt so paralyzed with fear. I mustered the courage to jump out of my bed. I turn on the light, run out to the backyard to see where this man is at and where are my dogs? Why didn't the dogs bark? And when I ran to the outside and turned on the backyard lights, there was nobody there at all. My dogs they were asleep, and it was just pure silence. I was so confused. I was like, where did this man go? So then I decided to run all the way back to the room, my sibling's room, to see maybe he's still there, standing there. Nothing. He was completely gone. So from hypervigilance, what I decided to do, I didn't want to go to sleep after that because I said, if this man comes back, I need to protect my family. I need to protect my siblings. I remember that night I texted a friend and I told him, I don't understand where he went. Like, he just disappeared. And my friend's like, yeah, none of that makes sense. After telling my friend, I didn't tell anybody else. I just kept it to myself. So skip forward years later, at the age of 20, I decided to accompany my aunt and my grandma to a trip to El Salvador. It was my first time going since my parents brought me here at the age of 1 year old and 2 months. So I was staying with another aunt who is from El Salvador, and I ended up getting really sick. Remember, I was dry heaving. I felt really nauseous. And then I had this huge piercing headache that would not go away. So my aunt decided to use a traditional remedy that they use for headache. When and I laid down, my aunt's room had an opening that was supposed to be like a window, and it looked through the kitchen. There was no glass window, it was just an opening. And she left the door to the room open so she can see me in case anything happened. And everyone was watching TV in the living room. It was the evening time. And I remember laying on the bed just feeling horrible. And minutes later, I guess I fell asleep because the next thing I remember after that is waking up in the middle of the night, and my aunt was sleeping next to me. My uncle, I can hear him snoring in the living room. My cousins had already went to the room and they were probably sleeping. And then all of a sudden I saw this man standing in between the door because I can see he was wearing glasses, and he was wearing that gray shirt with the collar up to here and the black pants. I immediately knew who he was, and in my head I was like, how in the hell did he find me here in El Salvador years later? And he is in the middle of the doorway looking at me. And I remember looking at him so scared, and he just kept going like this to me, like signaling, come with me, come with me. The more I shook my head, the more this man got angry at me, and I could see it in his face. I thought to myself, he's gonna run around into the kitchen and yank me out of this window. So I started praying because I didn't know what else to do. I couldn't scream. The next thing I know, I woke up in the morning hearing my aunt tell my cousin that I was really sick. And I had no idea what happened to the man that was there at night. So once I mustered the courage to, or the strength to get out of bed, I went to the living room and I told them the story I just told you. My cousin looked at me with a lot of curiosity, and my aunt looked very scared. And she asked, was this man glowing white or was this man dark? Was he like a shadow? And she told me that he followed me to El Salvador. She said if he was glowing white, it'd be a different story, but he is a dark being. She said he wanted to harm you. And that scared me because that's what I felt. I felt he was trying to lure me somewhere to harm me. Hearing her tell me this just brought up so much more fear and confusion because up until that moment, me seeing this man at my parents' house when I was 15 and me seeing this man again when I was 20, I thought both times this experience was real. When I mean real, that it was in the physical world where I can touch. But once my cousin told me this, was the first time that I considered, wait, this is not happening in physical reality. He wasn't a physical person. It never occurred to me before then that it was in another realm. And now I would love to know if any of you have any theories on who this man was or why he was watching me. Share in any of the comments. I would love to know your theories and understand this mystery